Hi everyone, welcome to the Movieception Show. My name is Furiosa, and a couple hours ago, Warner Bros. Had dropped the first trailer for an upcoming movie called Furiosa. Of course, if you're familiar with the Mad Max franchise, this is part of that world. For me, of course, like my introduction to it was Mad Max Fury Road way back in 2015, and boy, do I have the memories for that movie. I have some really great memories for that movie. But just to keep it really simple and short, of course, Furiosa is a prequel movie to Mad Max Fury Road. It's based upon basically the origin story of the character that was previously played by Charlize Theron, and this one's gonna be played by Anya Taylor-Joy, many years before, of course. And of course, like a lot of us are just wondering how we're gonna be able to see the origin story of Furiosa. Now, of course, when it comes to Mad Max Fury Road, we know what happens. And let me just say, like, for me, I have really, great memories for this because this is one of the few times that my dad and I had some, father-daughter bonding, which was going to the movies to go check out, a movie. And he himself was a big Mad Max fan. Like, he has all the DVDs for it. I mean, I think he's watched them a couple times, and just for the fact that he really wanted to see this movie with me, I mean, it meant the world. And I cannot even tell you the memories I have just watching the movie in theaters for the first time. I had a blast watching it. It was absolutely just rejuvenating to see such a really masterful, action-packed film like Mad Max Fury Road. I think to this day, I still applaud it for the way that it really, changes a landscape of how to view action movies. I mean, that movie was incredible in terms of music, the cinematography, the action sequences. It was bizarre, but very energetic. And yet it really kind of keeps you, on the edge of your seat all the time. I mean, that movie was just remarkable. I mean, I remember even then, like, I had put Mad Max Fury as one of my favorite movies of that year. And even to this day, I consider it one of the best movies I've seen in theaters, one of the best action movies I've seen of all time. I mean, Mad Max Fury Road is quite an exemplary film that to this day, it's just really hard to top when it comes to action movies. So of course, like with Furiosa coming out, there is definitely that expectation that we have for it. There's definitely a lot of challenges this movie's going to face because of how much that Mad Max Fury Road has really reached the levels of filmmaking in ways that none of us would have ever imagined. I mean, I have really questions about it too, of course. I mean, when it comes to, the actual prequel itself, I think it's been in development for so many years. I mean, I've been hearing about the Furiosa prequel for such a long time. I think it wasn't until maybe last year or so that we actually started to hear more updates about its production, and whether or not it was moving through. Then we had the casting, of course, with Anya Taylor-Joy playing Furiosa, so taking in charge of the character from Charlize Theron. And now it seems as though that it's actually going to be coming out. We're going to actually get, we're actually able to touch this actual movie, and it's going to be coming to theaters much sooner than I would have expected. So knowing that we got the first trailer now, I'm really curious to see whether or not this movie can really even just get even half, the energy, even half the audience of what Mad Max Fury Road has really emulated. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right down into the first trailer for Furiosa.
Whatever you have to do. However long it takes.
Oh my god, this reminds me of the Mad Max
Promise
images.
me you'll find your way home. Furiosa. Give me this promise.
Oh man. It's insane. Feels like Fury Road. Oh my god.
Ladies and gentlemen,
That's Chris Hemsworth.
your
Oh my
engines.
god. Holy crap. Oh man. There's a Morin Joe. There's him. Oh. Oh my.
I'm Furiosa! The darkest of angels. The question is, do you have it in you to make it epic?
Oh my god. So that was the first trailer for Furiosa, and wow, I can't even tell you. I mean, it feels like I'm going back to my memories of Mad Max Fury Road. That is incredible. I am super stoked to now see this film, of course. I mean, I did not expect this whatsoever. I mean, again, I'm not too familiar with the Mad Max franchise that I know so much about it, other than the fact that, it's very, based on the apocalyptic setting. But I know Mad Max Fury Road. I've seen that movie so many times. And to this day, it has a place in my heart of how much this movie has really, truly shown the cinematography and the action and just the visual. I mean, everything about it is just masterful. And we're seeing it being embodied here in this film that's supposed to be the origin story of Furiosa. And right off the bat, it really hooks you. I know I had a little bit of qualms knowing that this is going to be a movie about Furiosa and her origin story, which is like, it kind of starts to kind of expand a little bit from the scope of the Mad Max franchise. And it's like, okay, I'm not too familiar with that. But having seen this, it's like you have all the best bits of Mad Max Fury Road being implemented into this, or at least it being implemented into this prequel, or that's what we're assuming it to be. But you have all the best bits being implemented here, and it's once again taking you back to what was the glory of Fury Road. We're seeing it down here. We're seeing some of the familiar characters. We're seeing Immortan Joe, or at least we see kind of a shadow of him here and there. We see Furiosa. We get her energy. I mean, Anya Taylor-Joy, just from the bat, right? I mean, she doesn't really have a lot of, speaking scenes that we see in this trailer, but right from the bat, you can see how she's emulating just the Furiosa that we got from Charlize Theron's performance back in Fury Road. Like, you can get the essence out of it. I mean, just even when she's like moving around, like even the way that she's moving and her movements, like it reminds you, like it really clicks. Like, oh, this is Furiosa. This is the Furiosa that I know. I mean, already I'm applauding Anya just for the fact that she's already able to just replicate the character that Charlize Theron had originally invented for herself. I mean, she's the one who originated the character. I mean, it's just a lot of shoes to cover in terms of trying to even just reach half the to reach half the performance of someone else, to kind of replicate a character, recreate that character in a much different format. And here it is, like Anya Taylor-Joy just doing exactly that, really giving us the Furiosa that we know, a much younger, fierce Furiosa, her odyssey, her story, how, we know for a fact that, she used to be, looking for the green place, right? Like the green place to take all these, Immortan Joe wives, to take them to some sort of safe haven. And here it is. Like, I mean, this is just going all the way back years before any of the events from Fury Road even transpiring. And we're still seeing just the epicness of who Furiosa is in this trailer. And I mean, I can't imagine how the actual full movie is going to be like. Of course, like a couple things that we're probably going to be, curious about is her relationship with Immortan Joe. That's going to be very crucial. Because we know that in at least Fury Road that, she has a, working relationship with him, that, that he even trusted her to the point where he would even allow her to, carry all the resources where, you know, where they need some things and all that sort of stuff, only to see that he has this ultimate, you know, betrayal from her just in the opening sequences of Fury Road. And now it's like, okay, how will this, you know, knowing what we know from Fury Road, how is this going to play out in the original film? Despite the fact that we know that Furiosa does not like Immortan Joe. So definitely a lot of questions going into that. Like, we don't really get bits and pieces of storytelling here, of course. Like, we don't know exactly what's going on. And I mean, this makes sense. I mean, the first trailers, a lot of times they don't ever really give us an idea of what the primary premise is or what it's going to be, kind of, you know, the details of the storytelling. We don't get that immediately. It's more so that the first trailer gives gives kind of the visuals, the phenomena of what's going on, really kind of gripping you with the big visuals, really, than just going into the story itself. And just right away, like, I mean, just the visuals are spectacular. I mean, there are a couple sequences here where, like, they're showing kind of the city, and it's like, whoa, like, it looks different, but it's like, it reminds you a little bit of like how it was, and then it's just like, whoa, like, these visuals are looking pretty incredible. And I mean, yeah, it does kind of look cartoonish here and there, but hopefully, like, once the movie does come out, that things start to look a bit more complete. Like, I would imagine that they had to put this up as soon as possible, because this was playing, I believe it was at CCXP. So yeah, I mean, hopefully those will clean up eventually when the time the movie does come out. Let's talk about Chris Hemsworth, because holy crap, like, who would have thought that we were gonna get such a caricature of a Chris Hemsworth character like this, because we were so familiar with him as Thor, of course. Heck, even him as Tyler in Extraction, like, he's always that heroic character that, you know, here it's like he is definitely not a heroic character, of course. Like, I mean, he does seem as though he's going to be a bit more of some form of antagonist. I wouldn't say primary, of course. I think the primary is probably going to be Immortan Joe, but he does seem to be some sort of opponent to Furiosa based on this trailer. And just right away, you can get a sense of the campiness of his character. Like, and which is very fitting, because we've seen before how, you know, when it comes to humor, when it comes to action, like, this is something that even Chris Hemsworth is really good at balancing. Ragnarok is a really good example of that. So just to see him kind of play off with a performance that he's very comfortable with, that he is able to, you know, manifest, it's very clear here. And we see that with this character here. I think his character might be Dementis or Demetrius or something like that. I gotta look it up, but he's playing, you know, just from his looks. I mean, it looks absolutely shocking. I think shocking is the best way to say it. I mean, that literally blew my mind. I did not expect that as his, you know, as his characters look to be. So, that really, I mean, I cannot wait to see what else he's able to showcase with his character in Furiosa, and how that impacts her origin story here as well. And again, I think from the looks of it, it does seem as though this has a bit more of that racing feel. Again, that's the point of what we loved about Furiosa. Like, you have that car chase scene, or how it's basically a cat and mouse game where everyone is racing to, you know, catch up to Furiosa's truck. And that was one of the best bits about it, because you have all these incredible action sequences and cinematography and all that sort of stuff that really made, you know, Fury Road such an incredible movie. I mean, again, I consider it one of the best, you know, such an action masterpiece that we have from, you know, this, you know, from this era. And it's like, and just from this trailer, like, again, I already said before how it's emulating a lot of the big best parts of Fury Road. And we're seeing that here. It's even that so that we're getting a bit more of that racy, you know, that version of Furiosa who loves to race, or has that skill set of, you know, racing when it comes to, you know, getting into the action. And that's something that I'm able to see right away from this trailer, that this is who she is, that's what she does. I mean, I do have some questions about her character, of course, just like, I mean, what is her origin story? I mean, how was she separated from her parents? I mean, what led her to end up, in the city where, Immortan Joe is the leader? What leads to this relationship between her and Immortan Joe, as well as, how does Hemsworth's character get involved in all this? And again, there's a lot of other things. I mean, there's probably questions about how she lost her arm, of course. I don't know if that's something that they're going to be, at least touching upon here and there. But I mean, just for this trailer, I mean, it's already a very good first look. It's very promising, despite the fact that it took a long time just to get this project up. Like, I didn't even think this was going to even happen, considering how long it was taking. And yet it somehow worked. It somehow worked out. We're finally getting it after what? It came out 2015. This is 2023, so it's 8 years, and it's not even going to release until 2024. So it's been it's going to be about a 9-year gap between Fury Road and Furiosa. That's a long time. Like, I mean, again, I did not even anticipate that this was going to even come out at all. And yet here it is. We have the trailer for it. Very good first impressions. Really great visuals. Very promising. I cannot wait to see what more we're going to get in that second trailer. I mean, that second trailer is probably going to be kind of the make it or break it. But I mean, so far, I think that it is very promising. I'm just having now seen this. I cannot wait to see it. It's probably going to be, I mean, once we get to, the end of the year and I start doing the whole like anticipation stuff, definitely would be on that list for sure. I don't know where it would be in my ranking, but something I'll be looking forward to. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about Furiosa. I mean, again, that looks absolutely incredible. But what are your thoughts having now seen the first look at Furiosa? What was your memory, watching the first, watching Mad Max Fury Road in theaters or even at home? I mean, either way, what are your memories about that? What are your expectations, for Furiosa, knowing that we've watched Mad Max Fury Road and knowing the fact that, Fury Road has really set such a bar in terms of action movies that, how can Furiosa even replicate even half that energy? I mean, do you have faith in this? Has the first trailer already proven that point? Or are you looking forward to seeing the second trailer to kind of, settle that debate right there? Did you even expect this film to even come out at all? Were you like me that was thinking, oh, this movie's never going to come out at all? It's been delayed for so long, and now here it is 9 years later, or at least in this 8 years later, if we're finally getting it. What do you think it's going to be what are some things that you're going to be looking forward to seeing? What are your thoughts about, Chris Hemsworth's, character? Like, what do you think about that? I mean, that was definitely a huge shock. What do you think about Anya Taylor's, performance so far from what we see here? Again, she doesn't really have a lot of speaking parts as of yet, but what do you think about it so far? How does her performance compare to that of Charlize Theron? Has she already proven herself as already emulating the Furiosa that we know from Mad Max Fury Road? Or you still need a second trailer to really kind of, make up your mind about that? And let me know if you have any other comments having now seen the first trailer for Furiosa. Let me know your comments down below and make sure to like and subscribe.